Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. I don't know, it's still light out. Patrons only Eventide stream. How is everyone doing here this fine Tuesday afternoon? I am enjoying some pleasant weather and looking forward to couple of relatively quiet weeks, sorta. Got lots of stuff going on around the house, but nothing too huge in the work world. Just busy with standard stuff. Interesting news today about Roll20 and Demiplane acquiring Demiplane. Roll20 acquiring Demiplane. That's big news. I don't really have anything to say about it other than the fact that it is an ongoing consolidation of various platforms. You see it in lots of other industries all the time. I'm kind of surprised this hasn't happened more in the tabletop game area. Although I guess we did see a lot of it with the investment group behind Asmodee gobbling up smaller board game studios for quite a while there. That was kind of an ongoing trend for a bit now, and it's kind of interesting to see where that's going to go in the future. There's been some troubling news out of all that recently about splits and delineations of stuff. But yeah, basically Roll20 just bought Demiplane. So now all of the Demiplane character building tools, everyone is assuming those are going to be imported and become a thing you can then bring over into your Roll20 games, which will be nice. Roll20 does not have robust character building, it just has character sheets. So having robust character building in Roll20 will be nice. I know a lot of folks, Pathfinder folks, play on Foundry, which doesn't have its own built-in character generator either. It just has tools to import from other services. So, yeah. It'll be interesting. I don't know that any of this really affects Eventide much. Eventide isn't integrated with anything other than, it exists on Drive-Thru as a store. Drive-Thru, which was also bought by Roll20 a few years back. So, that continues to happen. So interesting times on that front. What else is going on? Not much, actually, to be honest. Been a pretty quiet week. So I think today what we're probably going to do is just kind of continue what we were working on last week. I've got some other projects I'm working on the side, but most of those aren't very fun to watch. Not that this is super thrilling, but it is progress as I continue the remaster pass on Wolfren's Fate Part 2. We were working on that last week. We created a remastered Bumblebee stat block. It's very exciting. So we're going to pick up kind of where we left off last week and just continue making our way through the adventure. I think eventually we'll hit some of the events at the end, which require a bunch of rewriting, and I need to merge some documents. I'll probably won't do that here, but we will continue to work on that. I feel like this is getting close to done. I think the biggest challenge with Part 2 of Wolfren's Fate is that it's overwritten. There's just too much. I may need to figure out some things that I can trim, because frankly, right now it just feels like there's too many places to visit. There's too many things to do. Some of them are red herrings. It's a very long adventure to play. I think by playtesting on this, we spent twice the amount of time playing Part 2 than we did Part 1. And that's not ideal. I think a big part of that is, frankly, that the events of the Eventide Festival at the end, some of them are very long to play out. They took entire sessions. And as a result, the entire story just kind of drags along. So the pacing, I might need to do some pacing editing at some point in time. And I should probably do that before I send it to an editor, because that way, A, I'm not paying for words that I'm not going to use, and B, I can also use the editor to make sure I caught all the trims and fixes. So Again, this is kind of a thing you do that you plan out. So, boy, what parts make the most sense to cut? That's interesting. Well, here, let me do this. I'll get back into this. And let me go ahead and bring it up. Where's my camera? Go ahead and shrink me down. I'm tiny. Bring this back. Okay. So the adventure is divided up into kind of 3 segments. Locations, floating encounters, and the Eventide Festival. The locations are kind of the mystery of the thing. You have to travel from location to location trying to find Wolfren's missing ring. The floating encounters are both pretty critical. One sets up the others. Boy, I could cut the floating encounters entirely, and just have Clandestine Offer be like the only one, because Shadows Lengthen is just when the PCs get ambushed. That's in the floating encounter section. Yeah, and then the other place I could probably trim is the Eventide Festival itself. The festival itself is a little overwrought. And, you know, the fact that there is a big contest on the final day really is a lot. It's a lot of stuff to do. So let's scroll through the locations here. Black Thumb is the Black Thumb is critical, right? The Black Thumb print shop is where they meet, you know, Alapar Clifton, the Dawnbringer, and yeah, no, super critical. Definitely can't cut anything of this. It's super critical to the storyline. Greenleaf could go entirely. Greenleaf is a red herring. It doesn't lead anywhere. It doesn't have any extra tips. It's also, you know, grand total, this isn't exactly the most... The thing about these kind of things is that it's not exactly the most impactful cut. It's 500 words. So right now this is half a page. Could it get trimmed down? Yes. And maybe that's the answer. So maybe I should leave myself a note here. So House of Order has a rather lengthy bit about traveling, doing errands with Alvora, which is how you get the on the good graces of the shrine and are allowed access to their records. But ultimately, it's just a way for you to learn more about the religious situation in town. So this could probably get a trim as well, because it is way overwrought. Yeah. I mean, it is... Oh, hey. Where'd it go? Come here. This is 1,200 words. So here's the thing. It's not about cutting it entirely. In this case, it'll be about understanding that this is more than it needs to be. That you can get by, you can kind of accomplish the same thing by just, you know, with a few less words, right? You could easily cut this down 500 words and it wouldn't hurt it over much. So much of this is stuff that is really just there to set up world lore. Then there's accessing the records. This is obviously super critical. There's the Jaratha section, which also I think is pretty critical. I wouldn't touch any of this. This is kind of a key moment here. This entire speech is actually really important. It kind of sets Wolfren up as a more sympathetic character who, you know, had someone he loved, who he was going to spend the rest of his short life with. But in fact, it ended up being a lot shorter than they thought. And her kind of loss there. There's a combat encounter in there. I gotta flush out just a hair. That's fine. That won't be very much. But, you know, this is a thing that needs to be done. Remembering Stone, this is the first actual real clue that they get, so I don't know that there's a lot of trimming to happen here. So there's a puzzle here. So the order of the investigation to get on the trail of where the ring is starts with going to the Remembering Stone, learning that someone put Wolfren's name on the Remembering Stone, that someone worked at the Skygaze Inn, going to the Skygaze Inn, learning that the person who worked there, their name was Jaratha, and they were involved with Wolfren, and that Jaratha still lives. That then leads you to Jaratha's, which is where you learn that you know, she at one time did have the ring, but she gave it to Wolfren's brother when he came to town. That leads you to searching for Wolfren's brother, which leads you back to the House of Order, where you learn that Wolfren's brother was in a business deal at the same time he was in town, and that it was about a book. And then you can learn about the book because you're trying to find out where Wolfren's brother lived. And that's the entire thing, because you don't know where Wolfren's brother lived. He didn't live in town, so where he lived becomes pivotal because you can't track down his family until you know where he resided. So this is critical. I don't know that the puzzle is, though. That's the question of the day. Is the puzzle an important part of this? I don't know. Maybe. Not much of a puzzle. Just a number combination puzzle. So Teetering Tower is almost nothing. But it does have an obstacle to you finding the book you need, which is stopping whatever mischievous sprite is preventing the books from being properly organized and keeps moving them every night. This involves you chasing down a gloamling. I don't want to cut this under any circumstances for two reasons. One, it adds an interesting kind of non-lethal chase to the adventure, which I think is important. And second, it kind of helps set up gloamlings if your group doesn't contain one. And it's just fun. Then you find the brother's book. Trevere Manor is a red herring. Entirely. So this could probably use a trim. I think the answer here is to trim up anything that's purely just a red herring. I think that's the way to go, because I think that will tighten up the adventure on the parts that are important, and keep the story, allow it to be longer where the story needs it to be. There is a thing here that I think is important. He kind of does a little archery contest that he lets you win. I'd like to be able to keep that, but again, if I have to lose it, I have to lose it. I could simplify it, right? Down to something very straightforward. There's this bit about Wolfren's Last, about visiting the museum and taking a look around. I don't know that there's much here to trim, but there could be. Then we get into... Okay, so... Yeah, then we get into the other encounters. One of them is a resolute heart attack, which I'm gonna have to see. I don't even know that this works anymore because we ain't got the NPCs from the Game Mastery Guide, and I don't know which ones are gonna be in the new book. Then there's Shadow's Lengthen, where you basically get attacked by assassins. Message from John. The Dawnbringers reach out to the group, talk about what they found. So this message from Dawn is actually just an old... This is an old piece, because I think this is in Black Thumb. Sorry about the rapid scrolling here. Yeah, this is all in Black Thumb. Yeah. So this is gone. This doesn't need to be in here at all. I can cut this right now. It's just an old remnant. So then we get into the Eventide Festival. The first night is the kind of Halloween party. There's a lot of stuff in here. This entire thing of like this Halloween party is huge. I mean, yeah, this is the first night. And it is long. 3,200 words. It's important. I don't want to cut much from this because I think it is atmospheric. It's building. The thing I cut? No. Sometimes I use, red text doesn't always indicate artwork. Sorry. Red text, this big, italics red text, is artwork. Smaller stuff is not. So this is not. This is not because this is me just calling out a no for myself. I really should use something different, but I know the difference, right? So, like, these are two pieces of art. Whereas this is just a note of something I need to do for myself. Red usually means do something that isn't text-based. But there is a specific style for artwork. These are art notes, if I recall correctly. I go to styles. Art notes. Yeah, there it is. Anyway. That's that. So getting into these final encounters here, you've got Darkest Night. First Ray is different. First Ray starts off with a parade. A note in here. Change that to red. Message from Dawn, the title was in it, but it was just a different title. It wasn't in the same style. It wasn't italicized. It looks very similar, I agree. Then you get to the Blazing Print Shop. Then you go into the sewers. Then there's the sewer fights, and I've got a couple spots in here that I need to touch up. Not to mention some monsters that don't work. There's a complex puzzle. And there's the Gaunt Lair. Most of this is done. There's a few things in here, and then it gets pretty sketchy. Because I get to the last night, which is the contest, and then that's basically the end of the adventure. So, in the contest, all those files are in a different document. Because I worked those up separately on my laptop. Alright. Okay, so we've identified some things that need trims. That's fine. I'm not going to do the trims here. That's boring to watch. But I'm going to get back up to the B, and we're going to continue from that spot. Where are you, B? I think I went past the B already. I did. Let me see about fixing up that wolf bit while I'm here. Dorotha's house. Okay. Dorotha conversation. Alright, the walk back to Wormbone takes 1 hour, but when the town just comes into sight through a clearing, in a small clearing. Let's see here. Alright, so what I really need to do is let's see. Okay. Alright, I think I got it all in there. Closer. Alright. Alright, make sure I'm not bolded. Okay. Fortunately for the PCs, they are just... It occurs to me you can't read any of this because I'm typing too low on the screen. I'm really good at this, everybody. Look at me go. Yeah. So, what I'm doing here is I'm just setting up the wolf encounter. The walk back to Wormbone only takes an hour. Due to the time spent with Drouth, it is likely later on in the day. And as the sun begins to set, a chill falls over the group, just as the twinkling lights of Wormbone can be seen in the distance. Somewhere nearby, a howling can be heard, and it seems to be growing closer. Creatures! A dire wolf and its cubs are prowling the area looking for a quick meal to fill their bellies before another cold autumn night. Unfortunately, the PCs are just the sort of meal they are looking for. Come lunging out of the nearby trees to attack. Ah, I know. The pair of wolf cubs launch themselves from the nearby tree line to attack, while their mother, the dire wolf, circles around to attack from behind. The wolf cubs flee if their mother is slain, but if either of the cubs dies first, the mother fights viciously to the bitter end. Alright, that's that. Simple. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay. Let me go and add the wolf stats. Let me grab a short stat block from somewhere up here. I'm sure there's one floating around somewhere. Maybe not. Look at that. There totally isn't. Okay. I'll grab something like this. Easy to fix that. Oh. Remaining stone, we're trying to get to Dratha. Dratha's home. Here we are. It's gonna go right here. It's not gonna be cultist though, it's going to be dire wolf. There's only gonna be one. Let me look at monster core real quick. Come here, wolf. Alright, so dire wolves are 3 and wolves are just 1, which is why this encounter works. Level 3. The monster core. And then the wolf cubs. 2. Level 1. Use wolf stats. See monster core. Alright. Easy. There's still some other things I want to flesh out, but I wanted to get the encounter in there. That's all done. Wave. Okay. One step at a time. Alright, here are our bumblebees. We're still pretty good with these. I don't think there's anything in here I need to change. Nope, looks good. Alright, we're going to move on from that. Oh, you know what? It occurs to me. One thing I should probably do is just take a glance through my art and make sure I didn't order anything that I'm thinking about cutting. Let's see, Alipar, no, Hadrim, good, Dratha, what's Dratha look like? Oh yeah, Dratha's great. Oh yeah, Rattling Trevere. I forgot the art piece I ordered for Rattling. Let's see here. I gotta share some of these. I forgot. If you haven't seen them, I forgot how good some of these are. Come here. Here's a good old Rattling Trevere. There he is. Yeah, perfect. 10 out of 10. No notes. We also got Jaratha. There she is. Perfect. I'm not sure if you saw Rattling. You might not have. Been a bit. Some of these I've had for, you know, I ordered these last year before the move derailed everything. Oh yeah, there's a pie eating contest. I'm gonna have to include the pies, so the pie eating contest has to stay. That's for sure. And then, of course, speaking of the bee fight half-pager, we gotta include that. Look at them! Big bees! No, not that kind of big bee. That's a different kind of big bee. Don't worry about that big bee. Alright, anyway. Okay. It's actually good I checked. There's a handful in here that, I might have otherwise forgotten about. That definitely is going to have to be included. The pie thing is one of those where throughout the Eventide Festival, one of the events you can go do is a pie eating contest, and I don't want to miss that. So I think the big challenge is just that there's too many events on the last day. There's like a pie eating contest and an archery contest, and it's just a whole lot of stuff, and it probably doesn't need to be that many things. Especially considering it then kind of is either leading into the finale or it is already after the finale. So, all right, moving on. Okay, so we got the Sky Gaze in, got the puzzle in it. I don't think there's anything in here I actually need to change. Except for if I go in and trim it up. But that's different. Okay. Alright, so we get the Teetering Tower. This leads to the chase. And I believe there's going to be some changes in here due to the some alterations to the chase points. Yeah, and frankly, the pie eating contest has been by far the most popular. Both my groups really like the pie eating contest. The archery was a little meh. And frankly, it's also a little overdone because there's already a different archery kind of contest. I'll say this, the archery contest kind of gave me a good chance for the players to interact with Rattling again. Rattling's kid, there was a callback, right? Because the first time you meet Rattling, he kind of challenges you to an archery thing, and then during this event, Rattling's kid is participating as well, so you can kind of one-up his kid. Again, could just be simplified, right? Okay, then it talks about finding the book, and you can brute force it. Then we get down to Trevere Manor. Again, pretty straightforward stuff. Let's see. So if they succeed... This is written backwards. If they succeed, Aldrin agrees to let them in. But before he allows them to... Third, practicing his archery. There we go. Okay. Fix that up. Yeah. I feel like there's definitely places I can clean this up. I have a note here to add a tie between Rattle and Trevere's grandmother and Wolfren. And I think this is because it doesn't seems kind of odd that they get sent here. Because up above here, there's this bit talking about, you know, why they should visit the various places. And Trevere Manor is kind of thin. Oh no, there's a note here that says that there are rumors that Rattle's distant great-grandmother was said to be friends with Wolfren. So that's why that's down there, because that never manifested in the later bit. That's right. That's right. Okay. Okay. That'll work. So that's already read. I'll take care of that at a later point. And then Wolfren's last here is the museum. This could probably be trimmed up a bit. Just giving it a read through here with them. Okay. Making good progress here. I'm heartened by the fact that I'm nearly through all of the location encounters now, kind of completely. There's a handful of things I still need to go in and trim up. But those aren't too hard to fix. Ah, yes. Wolfren Shed. Yeah. I should make note. The things they found. Sorry, I realized every time I type on something that's on the lower part of the page, none of you can see it. As a matter of fact, hold on. Let me... What's going on there? Oh, I see what's... Where are you? Okay. Well, it's about as good as I can get. Okay. That's closer. Okay. I added a note that some of the items they recover from the first adventure can be found here. Just not super critical, but something I don't want to forget. Alright, so now we get into the... these are, well, see, there's a little thing. This is called encounters here. But up here, in pacing, they're called floating encounters. So I should make sure to change the name. Flouting. Huh. So this is talking about the two types of encounters, but up here, I could talk about both, and I should probably just unify this up here. I don't need to... Flautas. I like flautas. They're delicious. Okay. So there's locations and there's encounters, and that's kind of it. The events of this adventure occur in several days, and one of them is purely on the way. I don't even need the sentence. It can just go. It's not saying anything, so cut it. Alright. Done. Okay. Alright, I'll come back down here. So now I get to Cultist. This is when the Resolute Heart attacks. Boy. This is, frankly, all story. Very short. And I do kind of want to try and keep it, but I do have a problem in that this stat block doesn't exist anymore. Although, I don't think... Let's see. Come on. Elf. Nope. There are a couple NPC stat blocks floating around here, but I don't think they're going to help me much. Level 1 characters. I doubt there's any that are going to suit my needs. Level 1. Dwarf Warriors. Halfling Troublemakers. Page 192. Maybe? What did I just do? That's what I did. 192. Let's take a peek. Halfling Troublemakers. Creature level 1. No, they're just trying to do pranks. It's not useful. I need a cultist stat block. I'm gonna have to think about it. It's either gonna have to get cut, changed, or I'm gonna need to write up a stat block for it. Yeah. Just leave myself a note. Another thing I gotta fix. This adventure has more problems. Honestly, fixing part 1 was easier than this. This one's just got a number of encounters that are kind of orked. Cut. Change. Or write a new stat block. Gotta be one of those. More things to work on. Look at the time. Boy, things do just fly. Let me save. Alright. Boy. That was good progress, but it didn't feel like it. Felt just like a lot of stuff that still needs to be fixed. But, you know, that's the only way we're going to get there. So that one's coming along. I need to throw a day at it sometime soon here where I can just sit down and focus on it. Make some real progress, because right now it's kind of coming in dribs and drabs, and as a result I have to kind of keep putting it back together every time I pick it up. Alright folks, that's all I got here for today. I want to thank you all for hanging out. It's been a nice chill crowd. Yeah, you blink and already we're creeping up on 8. So I have to get ready for my next stream. So I want to thank you all for hanging out. We will be back here next week, maybe doing more of this, maybe doing something else. I don't know. I want to set back up my drawing tablet and work on some maps here sometime soon, just to change things up. I've nearly got the Icescar Valley map done, so maybe I should focus on that. I could get that finished. That'd be nice. Alright folks, that's what I got right now. Thank you for hanging out, thank you for being a good crowd, and thank you for your continued support. Yeah, that's what I have here for you today. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next time.